Scott Simpson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. And with the indulgence of the House, I would like to just take a moment before I comment on this bill to just send a message to my constituents on the east coast of the Coromandel this evening, who later tonight will be confronting what may or may not be a tsunami alert. Well, the alert is out, but my advice to constituents on the east coast of New Zealand, and particularly those on the Coromandel Peninsula, is to keep yourself updated. Look at social media, look at websites by the Thames Coromandel District Council, Civil Defence, and listen to radio and TV for updates. And don't be at all afraid to take careful, cautionary, prudent action tonight and this evening. So, Sir...
the member's time starts now.
Thank you, Sir. Sir, this bill is a small bill. It won't go down in the histories of the Parliament as being a hugely significant bill, but it's an important bill nonetheless. And I'm delighted to have heard the comments from the Minister in his speech earlier on in the debate that the recommendations made by the committee will be accepted in full, and so I think that's a good place to start a brief discussion on this bill. This bill is all about creating certainty for a relatively small number of properties. We estimate about 70 in total, who are going to be impacted if we don't enact this legislation by the timeframes in the Principal Act, the Weathertight Homes Resolution Services Act of 2006. And so, as a previous speaker indicated, there was a Supreme Court decision last year brought by John and Helen Osborne against the Auckland City Council, and as a result of that decision at the Supreme Court, it became necessary for some clarity and some decisive legislation on behalf of this House to give those 70 property owners some certainty about their way forward and the future for them and their properties. This is all about, Sir, ensuring that people don't get bogged down in lengthy, costly litigation that actually doesn't do much in terms of achieving the purposes of the bill, which is to create a weathertight building, a weathertight home. And so, Sir, this bill actually seeks to do three things. It seeks to provide certainty in terms of the location of eligibility of the properties. It seeks, secondly, to define the definition of built date. And it thirdly, Sir, seeks to ensure that at the expiry of the financial assistance package due originally to expire in July 2016, the bill will extend that date claim for properties that are actively being progressed prior to that date. And I think that's a very sensible, pragmatic and prudent thing to be doing on behalf of those people. The bill was not one that received a huge number of submissions. In fact, there were only three, and we heard from one, but they were all useful, constructive submissions that helped us come to decisions as a committee that I think meant that we could make recommendations that made the bill a better bill. And I was pleased to hear that the Minister acknowledged that in his contribution earlier on, because I think the way that the committee worked on this bill is a good example of how select committees should work. We work collaboratively, we worked collegially, and we were able to hear a range of points of view that were designed to ensure a better outcome for all involved. And I'm absolutely sure that the bill that we are debating this afternoon is the better for that process. Sir, I'm not going to carry on at any length about the detailed provisions because those have been covered very neatly by the Minister in his comments, and nor am I going to go into any detail about the recommendations that we have made as a committee, other than to say that they are largely administrative and they help provide clarity and certainty. Sir, this is a good bill. I'm delighted as chairman of the committee that the committee was able to work so well together to bring it back to the House for its second reading, and I commend it to the House.